from ashes to action. We're walking through the book of Nehemiah. We spent time last week in person walking through chapter 1. And here we are preparing ourselves for chapter 2 as we get ready to reconvene our life groups. Great opportunity to go deeper into this thought from ashes to action. I want to talk about God's plan for unexpected turns. Let me know in the comments section, have you ever experienced an unexpected turn, an unexpected twist? Go ahead and let me know in the comments section, because you will be a part of today's message. Y'all know I like to engage from ashes to action. I read a story this past summer, and I saved this story because as a preacher, as a pastor, as a communicator, a content creator, you never know when you'll use material. So I saved this story. It's about this young single professional mother, and her name was Laura. She has one child in high school, and then she has another in college. So on top of having 2 children, being single, she loses her job. And the loss of her job threatens her stability. The stability that she had built for her family, leaving her to navigate a future. Check this out. A future, and I highlighted in the article, a future of uncertainty and concern. So she's attending this event with her sorority, and she's sharing with one of her sorority sisters that she has fears regarding the future because it's filled with uncertainty. Lost everything. So a soror is listening emphatically, realizing the gravity of the situation, that Laura stands at this crossroad, you all. Here's the crossroad. Come on, lean in. She could either succumb to anxiety of being unemployed, having a child in college, another in high school on their way to college. She could either succumb to the anxiety of being unemployed or harness skills and experience to forge a new path. So she's struggling. Watch this. She's struggling because she has to make a decision. Do I stick to what's comfortable, take a challenge, rise from the ashes, and reinvent a new career path? Fascinating. Now I want you to think about this, because in the same way our sister faced the daunting task of rebuilding her walls, so does Nehemiah. Her story mirrors his journey of faith and his determination. And as Nehemiah sought permission to go back and rise from the ashes and rebuild the wall, gives us the blueprint on how we can navigate life's unexpected twists and turns. Anybody here resonate with Sister Girl's story? I know I do. And the reason I know that is because when we get to Nehemiah chapter 2, remember chapter 1, he gets the report that the walls are down. The gates are down. And then he has a burden. And he takes this burden to the Lord in prayer, and he ends the chapter praying. So now we're in chapter 2. And I want to jump to verse number 4 and read verse number 4 and verse number 5. Kind of help us out in our understanding. He goes to the king, and the king sees Nehemiah's spirit is down. Something is puzzling him. He's wearing the burden of what's in ruin all over his face. And so the king sees that. We get to verse 4 and he says, "How can I help you?" He says, "Well, how can I help you? I see the condition that you're in." Watch this. With a prayer to God of heaven, he prayed first. There it is again. And he replied, "If it pleases the king, and if you are pleased with me, your servant," he says, "send me to Judah to rebuild the city where my ancestors are buried." I just want to lay the foundation on what we came to talk about. Now, if you're taking notes, digital pastors, you can help me out right here. See, faith isn't just stepping out. No, we're digging a little deep. No, faith is about stepping up from amongst the ashes. Now think about it with Nehemiah. Now, when your world is in ruins, it could be financially, relationally, professionally, medically, wherever there's a ruin. See, when your world is in ruins, rebuilding begins in the heart, begins in the mind. And so it takes that kind of faith to step out from amongst the ashes and begin that journey. That's what Nehemiah did. He walks into the king's presence. But he prayed first. And he says, "If it pleases the king, if you are pleased with me, send me back to Judah. Let me go and rebuild those walls." Now, when it's in ruin, you've got to make up your mind. I can't stay here. Anybody felt like that? When you get into a situation where you've experienced some unexpected turns, and it took some things away from you and put you in a position like Sister Girl that I read about. You're like, I can't stay here. Now, I've had a setback, but I can't stay here. Yes, I need to rebuild financially or professionally or medically or relationally. I just can't stay here. Anybody ever felt like that? When you have that mentality, that means that you are unwilling to remain in your current location because God hath graced you to do something about that situation. Who am I preaching to here? I can't stay here. Yes, I know I have ruins around me. I know that has the ability to paralyze, but even in the midst of those ruins, Nehemiah didn't just step out. No, he's stepping up from the ashes. Do something about that now. Come on, lean in. Afraid that we have too many people who are comfortable among the ruins, comfortable in despair. And see, that can be a deceptive trap that hinders us from stepping into the promise that God has for us. The fear of starting over is paralyzing, hindering us from being all that God has called us to be. But I want you to understand this. Faith, it's what Nehemiah shows us, isn't just stepping out, it is stepping up from among the ashes. Are y'all hearing me here today? Man, I'm trying to preach this. Thank you, Shante. She says, teach this, Pastor. I'm doing the best I can. That's right, Esther. You all up in my message. You having a plan that we cannot see. Take the burden to the Lord in prayer. Oh, it gets better now. Let's look at verse 6. God, I love your word. Verse 6. The king, with the queen, sitting beside him, asked, how long will you be gone? When will you return? After I told him how long I would be gone, look at this. The king agreed to my request. Andrew. Now, faith isn't just stepping out, it's stepping up from amongst the ashes. We've established that. Here's the second clue. The second clue. From the ashes of despair. God, I love your word. We rise on the wing of prayer. Good Lord, Junior, you teaching this thing now. The king supports Nehemiah's vision. Highlights this. Come on, Esther, she already said it, so she let the cat out of the bag. And what it highlights is that when your prayers, or all prayers, align with God's will, he sends the resources to be the provision of the vision. Teach this, Clarence Edward. Y'all not hearing me today. Now, his story encourages us. Now, stories is an encouragement to trust God's divine timing and provision for our vision. I know you have a vision on your life, and you trying to figure out when will the provision come for my vision? Well, if your vision is aligned with the will of God, and what's the will of God? Love God with all your heart, mind, and soul. Love your neighbor as yourself. Worship God in spirit and in truth. Seek to grow in Christ's likeness. Seek to do that for others. And when your will lines up with God's will, then he becomes the provision for the vision. I got to encourage myself. Are y'all hearing me up to this day? Now watch this, verse 7. God, Lord, watch this, y'all. This is Nehemiah. I also said to the king, if it pleases the king, let me have letters, provision, addressed to the governors of the province of the Euphrates River, instructing them to let me travel safely through their territory on my way to Judah. And please give me a letter addressed to Asaph, the manager of the king's forest, instructing him to give me timber, provision. Now, Nehemiah's request is courageous because it demonstrates the first step in undertaking the daunting task of rising from the ashes, simply having enough courage to begin. We see his vulnerability on display, expressing what's in his heart. And that's a testament to true leadership, because he has this burden, and that burden compels him to talk to somebody who can do something about his situation. Are y'all hearing me this today? Now watch this. Because the story takes a turn. You already know faith isn't just stepping out, it's stepping up. Somebody drop that in the comment section. Faith isn't just stepping out, it's stepping up. Then on top of that, from the ashes of despair, that's what you really call swag surfing right there. We rise on the wings of prayer. Now it gets a little shaky in verse 10. So I'm your resident tour guide to walk you through the scriptures. Look at verse 10. You're rising from the ashes, stepping up. Post is just stepping out. God's already given the provision because it's in line with his will. But I want to cue up the music. You know, this is when the da-da-da-da comes in, because verse 10. But when Sanballat, the Horonite, and Tobiah, the Ammonite, this is verse 10, heard of my arrival, they were displeased that someone had come to help the people of Israel. Now, you didn't think you were going to come out of this unscathed, did you? Because verse 10 shows us that your opposition is your opportunity. Boy, you teaching this thing on a 30 degree below zero day. Now your opposition pact becomes your opportunity. Come on, lean in. See? Challenges and obstacles can turn into opportunities for growth and success. One of the biggest blessings is to have challenges and obstacles. Here's why. See, instead of being discouraged and intimidated by opposition, embrace it as a chance to learn. Embrace it as a chance to improve. Embrace it as a new opportunity. Embrace it as a new possibility. Are y'all hearing me? Your opposition is your opportunity. I see what you're saying there. I see what you're saying. Now, Nehemiah is resilient in the face of adversity. And it reminds me that obstacles can strengthen and resolve our faith. Man, I tell you, I've learned so much, Lyndon, man, about me, about God, and about people, man, during this last transition. And one of the biggest things that I've learned is that people who were once familiar can become strangers overnight. I look back, man, y'all saw it last week. Man, and I hate to say it on a stream like this, man. And we were at the Crystal Sky, our in-person service. And I look around at who helped. And my wife and I, we were having this conversation, man. All of my help, a great majority, other than the faithful members of Mars Hill. Now, y'all excluded because y'all been there. Man, came from people that didn't look like me. Got to read between the lines because I don't need any strikes. But even in the midst of the ruins and in the midst of the ashes, family of God, God raises new opportunities. Won't he do it? But the story goes on. Let me go ahead on and land the plane. Y'all doing all right, man? Boy, I tell you, this is good. This is good. This is good. Watch this, y'all. I'm about to land the plane. Here we are at verse 12. Nehemiah says, I had not told anyone about the plan. He says, I had not told anyone about the plan. I had not told anyone about the plan that God had put in my heart for Jerusalem. Look at this. We took no pack animals with us except for the donkey that I was riding. After dark, I went out. Look at this. After the dark, I went out to the valley gate, past the jackal's wall, and over to the dung gate to inspect the walls of Jerusalem. Y'all, it's some major stuff right here that I got to share, you all, because rising from the ashes in the silence of the night, God eliminates your path. So there's no need for me to complain about who was there or who wasn't. I'm just making an observation. Sometimes God has to get you by yourself in order to deal with yourself. Now, Nehemiah's detailed preparation exemplifies the importance. Sometimes you just got to go out and observe things alone. Sometimes you've got to look at the lay of the land alone. Sometimes you just can't tell everyone what you're up to and what you're about to do. Sometimes you just got to be like Nehemiah, get out there by yourself, alone with God, so that he could give you and illuminate for you the path that he wants you to take. But Nehemiah is being strategic. Because when you have vision, you're pregnant. And you have to carry that pregnancy, and that gestation has to have a duration. And sometimes when we're early in the pregnancy, you already know that first trimester is the most important trimester. You have to have your vitamins. You have to have prenatal care. You've got to be in the best condition that you can be, because that first trimester is crucial. And most folk talk too much during the first trimester. When your vision is most vulnerable, and the wrong person hears it and kills the vision. And that's why Nehemiah had to go out at night by himself so that he could deal with the opposition, so that God could illuminate his path in the silence of the night. God illuminates the path. Y'all ready? Now, this reminds us that solitude and reflection helps you gain clarity. Y'all ain't writing anything. Solitude and reflection helps you gain clarity and insight for the journey. How do I know this? See, when you take a moment to pause, helps clear your mind. When you take a moment to pause, you get a better understanding. When you take a moment to pause, you step back and you get perspective. In the silence of the night, God illuminates your path. And when God illuminates the path, I want you to chew on this as I close. I want you to chew on this. Last lean in moment. Come on, lean in. See, the journey of rebuilding is not just about our restoration, but it's about our renewal. What does that mean? Here's a better way to say it. See, the reason that you're rebuilding financially, relationally, professionally, is because rebuilding brings new life. Not just to you, but to those who are around you. Somebody's watching you play the game. Somebody's watching you, how you navigate the game. Somebody is watching your preparation during the game. Somebody is watching how you respond to setbacks in the midst of the game. Rebuilding brings new life. Not just to you, but to those who are around you. Somebody is watching you play the game. You can't give up now. You can't throw in the towel. Yes, you're going to have setbacks. Nehemiah did. Yes, you're going to have opposition. Nehemiah did. Yes, you're going to have trouble. Nehemiah did. But man, if my vision is aligned with the will of God, then provision happens suddenly. So what do you rebuild? Where will you rise from the ashes? You know your plan has taken an unexpected turn. But rebuilding, after unexpected turns in life, involves stepping up before we step out, bracing faith, and finding hope amidst despair. So here's what I want you to do. You know I'm Baptist in spirit, so you know that first close was not the real close. So I'm closing for real now. I'm closing for real now, I promise. I want you to take a moment during this stream. I want you to think about an area in your life that's in ruin, ashes, rubble. I want you to get that one area, that one specific area that you're about to work on. It could be a recent challenge. I want you to get it in your mind. I want you to get it in your mind. Or if you can't think of anything, I want you to think about where your life has taken an unexpected turn. Come on, get it in your mind. Because rebuilding can inspire and impact others. Your journey of restoration brings hope for future generations, revitalizing their spirits. And I want you to take the Nehemiah approach. From ashes to action. Come on, say that with me in the comments section. From ashes to action. I don't want you becoming comfortable amidst the rubble. I don't want you comfortable rolling around in ashes. Get the ashes. Come on. Get that off of you. We have a plan. We have a strategy that we're moving from ashes to action.